A lot of popular EDC and knife preferences have caused the community to miss out on great gear. That's actually a direct quote from a follower that stuck with me, not only because I felt that firsthand, but also I've probably contributed to it as well. I talk about the things I really like and love: titanium, micarta, nice and fancy things, some really good budget gear, but when it doesn't fit the criteria that I look for in something immediately, if I don't get it at first glance, a lot of the times I won't give it a second chance. And I've probably helped inadvertently bury some great gear that should have seen the limelight, so I'm sorry. But we're gonna talk about that and more. This is Deep Cuts, my name is Taylor Martin, and let's do the damn thing. So we're starting up top with a confession. So welcome to EDC Confessions. This one comes from Dagan from North Carolina, and he says, a lot of popular EDC knife preferences cause the community to miss out on great products. My wife bought me a Leatherman Free K4 a few years ago for my birthday, knowing nothing about EDC and knives other than the fact that I liked both. This is never a tool I would have bought on my own because the reviews were that it was bulky and unusual, but it's been my most carried tool for years. The heft has actually been a benefit where I work, where my pockets often get full of random junk. It's been especially helpful in these NC winters where it gets cold and accessing the tools with gloves on is still possible. Finally, the magnetic locking design of the Free series has allowed this tool to operate flawlessly in muddy, sandy, and grimy conditions that I wouldn't trust another knife or multi-tool to deal with and be able to recover. So much of this tool goes against EDC/knife media convention: hefty over light, combo blade over drop point, thick body over sleek design. It goes to show that what sells isn't always what's best for real world use. It also goes to show that you don't have to be a knife/EDC expert to pick a thoughtful tool for the person you know well. Two things to take away from that. I have for years recommended against buying somebody something that is their hobby. For me, as somebody who is a smoking enthusiast, smoking meats, I don't want somebody to necessarily buy me a pair of tongs or something that goes with my smoker, because chances are, as a gearhead, I've already got it, and the one they get me, while I'm gonna be grateful for it, is not gonna be the one I end up using. That's not always true. Like, I've been given things that I really, really appreciate. But as a general rule, I never recommend buying a knife person a knife. Your chances of getting it right and getting the right one, unless you know what that person is looking for, it's kind of a coin toss. I typically recommend buying something tangential to what they like. What I mean by that, I enjoy smoking meats. So get me a box from Omaha Steaks or Snake River Farms or something like that. Get them something they can use with their tool, like a knife sharpener or strop, a maintenance kit, not necessarily the gear itself, but something that can help. This is a case where it actually worked out. I read this a couple of times, and it made me reflect on myself being like kind of a knife reviewer, even though historically I've never reviewed things. Actually, my first real review, I believe, was a couple weeks ago for the Leatherman Wave, because I used to be a product reviewer and I got tired of reviewing things. But it got me thinking about like the implications of the things that me and my peers say. Like, I never really go out of my way to dog on something. In fact, that's one of the reasons I have not really ever reviewed stuff on this channel, is because I got so tired of looking at literally everything through a critical lens. It still happens now, but I don't feel the pressure to review stuff, so I don't feel the pressure to constantly be critiquing everything. But the more I do this, the more, just when I pick something up for the first time, I immediately zero in on several things. A friend of mine, who you guys know as Zero Feud, Rick, it's a good thing for him because he's a machinist, but he is the world's worst for absolutely picking something apart within seconds of seeing it. He grabs it and he zooms in and he's like, oh, that finishing is terrible. So it's really funny. I try not to do that with things, but it happens more and more. The more you do this, the more you get hands-on with anything, the more you zero in on these flaws very, very quickly. But I've tried my best to effectively run this channel in a way that if something appears on this channel and I'm talking about it, and it's not necessarily just like a submission from somebody, it's got my stamp of approval. I don't talk about a lot of the stuff I don't like because I just don't like that energy. I don't like putting it out there. And if you never see it on this channel, there's a chance I've just completely overlooked it by accident, or it's not great, so I'm just not recommending it. Say what you will about that tactic or that method, it's just kind of how I set out to do this thing because I was so sick of constantly critiquing everything. I wanna share things with you that get me excited about gear and knives and everyday carry, and less me just dragging things that I don't like. There are plenty of knife reviewers out there who are here to critique things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I highly recommend you go watch them if that's what you're after. All right, we've come to the point in the show where we need to thank our channel sponsors who make all of this possible. Obviously, you guys make this possible. I wouldn't be here without you guys. But first up, we have Worksharp. They have the new RMX Blackout coming out on Monday. Go check it out. Here's your reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. And that's 10 a.m. PST, by the way. Next up, we have Big Idea Design. Obviously, you guys know them for titanium pocket tools and pens and knives and watches. They also now have these. This is the Everyday Notebook. It's just a pack of 3 notebooks made in Chattanooga. Go check them out at Big Idea Design. Use my coupon code BDEDC for 10% off at checkout. I also want to thank Blade Binge. If you are not familiar with Blade Binge, it is a secondary marketplace. Buy, sell, trade all your knives and EDC gear there. They offer protection. It's kind of like an escrow. So everybody has a little bit of protection, buyer and seller, so nobody's getting screwed over. It's really cool, and they've got a lot of really cool stuff to browse on their website. Grails, everyday carry, bundles, all sorts of odds and ends, even like replacement parts for your knives or material. If you're a knife maker, they also have material on there. There's so much stuff on Blade Binge. It's a lot of fun to browse, but also a great way to buy and sell and trade used EDC gear. Thank you, Blade Binge. And finally, Carry Commission. That is my store. That's right over here, actually. So if you're not familiar with Carry Commission, it's a curated selection of all the stuff I really love. Makers that I like to collaborate with, gear that I love and want to bring to you sometimes, most of the time, in a custom way. And here is a perfect example of that. This is the Jack Wolf Knives K9 Jack. This is the Carry Commission exclusive version. It has checkered milling on the handles, OD green, it's got a tan liner, and also S90V blade, hollow grind like Jack Wolf always does. It's sick. These are in stock at Carry Commission right now, unless we sold out before this video airs. So go check them out at Carry Commission. So I read through this a few times. It's a little bit of a gut punch because it's really hard to think about the implications of the things you say when you're saying them. I'm trying to just, put some stuff out there and help you guys discover this gear. That's what this thing was built for, to help you discover the gear that you should be paying attention to. And it's really hard to do that without being critical of other things. Actually, a perfect example of that is this right here. There have been so many people who have said, hey, check out Roxxon. They've got a great product and you can turn it into whatever you want. The problem is, within, honestly, 30 seconds of handling this thing, I knew that this was not for me. The fit and finish, for one, is just not there. It just doesn't feel great. I'm sure this is probably a decent tool for most people, but it feels slapped together, especially when you consider how much this thing will cost after you've built this thing out the way you want. The frame is like 45, 50 bucks, and then you've got to buy each individual tool for the inside, so you can actually end up spending as much as a Leatherman for this tool, and at the end of the day, it doesn't feel great. Here's a great example. One, I also don't like the opening mechanism. I just don't like the way that this opens, but that's beside the point. Look at these scissors. I can't even, there we go. It's probably really hard to show this on camera how drastically different they are. And I also have the Surge. This is an example of some great multi-tool scissors, but within seconds of touching the Roxxon, I'm like, oh, this thing is like really cheap. Like absolutely made very, very quickly with very little care. And this is made quickly with a little bit more care, the arc scissors. But this is literally stamped out of super thin stock. Very thin compared to the arc, exceedingly thin compared to the Surge scissors, because these things are hefty. But they've got a lot of play in them, and they've got rough burr edges on every single surface. And it may have changed by now, and the way that they're constructed, every single thing is always loose, right? If you unlock this thing and push this, all the tools flop around, and it just, nothing about it feels good. In my mind, I know I did not give this thing a fair shake just because the first impressions were not good. I could be totally wrong about this thing. It could be great, but this literally looks like a multi-tool you'd buy at like Harbor Freight. And it's what it feels like. It doesn't feel great. You might hate me for saying all this stuff, but that is what my brain said as soon as I touched this Roxxon. Another one, I've gotten criticism over dogging this thing because I said the UI on it was just terrible, and that's the truth. The UI on this is terrible. When I touch a flashlight, I pick up a flashlight for the first time, if I can't figure out how to use it in a couple of minutes of just tinkering around, or if I forget because it's just a little bit too complicated, it's not a product made for the masses. It's truly not. So this, by contrast, is the Lumentop FW3C. This is a enthusiast-made flashlight, and it has a very complex UI. It's called Anduril, and it's extremely programmable. It's got a million modes on it, and this is something that is intriguing because it's intentionally made to have a bunch of functions to cater to an enthusiast. This is complex and complicated because it's just bad design, bad UI. I'm not saying this is a bad flashlight. It could be the perfect flashlight for you, but the way the clip is designed, it flops around, it doesn't stay where it's supposed to. The UI does not work the way you would intend it to or expect it to, and this isn't really adding a ton of functionality, where the Wubin X3 is one that I actually heralded last year because it's actually useful. It's wireless charging, it's got a display that tells you your battery, the lumens, the mode you're in. This 90 degree is actually functional for the right reasons. The UI on it works. It's not super complicated. This thing, maybe it's not super complicated, but it is not intuitive. Something that I'm gonna have to sit there and study the instructions on, and then I'm like, that still doesn't make sense. It doesn't commit to memory because it doesn't make sense. It's bad UI design. This is good UI design. This is intentionally complex UI design because you're doing everything to control this flashlight through one button. This I can appreciate. This, I'm not going to appreciate that, and I'm probably not going to recommend it. So here I am dogging on something, but to that end, like, this might be the perfect flashlight for you. It might be everything you've been looking for, but when it comes to me and somebody who's handled a lot of flashlights, this is, I think, what's wrong with flashlights right now. I've talked about that before. There's a lot of flashlights that just try to cram way too much into it, when really most people, all they need are a couple of modes and easy recharging or a common battery. But I've also said that it's affected me, right? Like, my preferences have definitely been altered by what's popular in the market, like Ultim. Everybody went crazy for Ultim there for a little bit, and I also liked Ultim. Now, I don't think I have much Ultim gear. We've kind of moved on. There are still some knives that come out with Ultim, but for me, Ultim is not like something I seek out. I used to, but now I don't. So the trends and everything do affect everybody, myself included. Yeah, it's just interesting to hear something like this from a guy who completely would have overlooked the free K4, but his wife got one and he actually ended up really liking it. And there's also probably a little bit of sentiment there, right? Some sentimental value of your wife getting you something and you wanting to use it and make her happy too. I'm not saying Dagan's only using this. He's used it because there might have been that sentimental value, and then through that realized it's actually a really good tool. And I guess all of this is to say that you shouldn't always listen to people like me, even my contemporaries here on the platform on YouTube. We're not complete total experts in every subject category. Definitely have a lot of hands-on with this stuff, but I'm just a guy who enjoys this stuff, and I've never claimed to be an expert at anything. I'm just sharing my opinions on stuff as someone who has had a lot of experience with all these different things. So I don't always get it right. A lot of the time I've been wrong about things. As often as it happens, I try to admit if I've ever learned something different. I try to tell you guys I was wrong about this thing. A perfect example of me being wrong about something, well, I don't know if it's wrong, but something that might kind of fit this narrative here, Olight. I was all about some Olight for a very long time. I really liked the S1 Baton, the Baton 2, a lot of the original Olight models. And then I completely stopped talking about Olight here on the channel to you guys. And it was because it just didn't appeal to me anymore, mainly because I didn't like the way they were doing business, which was dropping a new flashlight every other week or every week, and then discontinuing models almost as fast as they were dropping them. I just didn't like that model. They've cooled down a little bit, but they still come out with a lot of flashlights. But because of that, I just stopped paying attention. And then the Arcfeld came out. They sent me an Arcfeld. I was like, ah, cool, and I tossed it in the drawer because I was like, it's an Olight, not interested, moving on. And then I don't think it was until the Arcfeld Pro or Ultra came out that I really started paying attention to it. And it's a great flashlight. I'm glad I do now. The same thing happened with the one I keep in my backpack, the SK05 from Loop Gear. I actually mentioned that I was completely wrong about this flashlight. I got it and thought that it was just a gimmicky tool, but it actually turned out to be a really nice flashlight. A little complicated, a little too many modes for the average user, but the magnet actually works on it. The modes work as intended, and I actually really like it. So Yeah, I've completely overlooked things just because preconceived notions. Something like this comes in the mail. I don't even know what this is. I genuinely don't know. Warbow MK001 Mini Tonto Carabiner. Stuff like this comes in all the time. I don't know that I've ever even opened this. It's a carabiner with a Tonto blade built into it. I can tell you now that as soon as this came in, if I even opened it, I probably saw a picture of it on the back and I tossed it to the side because it's just, why? Maybe this is exactly what you've been looking for. I don't know, but for me, it doesn't move the needle. And the core reason for me doing this is stuff that moves the needle for me that I want to share with you guys. So I don't always get it right. I don't always talk about everything. In fact, out of all of the knife/EDC YouTube channels out there, I probably talk about the least amount of gear because I don't make videos nearly as fast as other people. It took me doing a Leatherman video on the Wave Alpha to have you guys tell me about the Surge. Like, I knew of the Surge, but I wouldn't be carrying the Surge right now if it weren't for the comments in that video that said, Surge is the king. I'd never owned a Surge. I'd never even thought about looking at it. I got this into my hands for the first time 2 days ago, and I was like, oh, this is the GOAT. This thing is a beast. Point me towards something that I should be checking out. When enough of you say, hey, check this thing out, then my blinders are no longer there and I can find some of the stuff that is a little more obscure. When I first started this channel, making a video about the best $50 EDC knife, like maybe the top 10, was so easy. There were like 20 to 30 options that were great and you had to narrow it down. The best $50 EDC knife right now, if I try to do a top 10 list, there's like 700 or 1,000 knives in contention for that. That is such a dramatic change in 7 years. I never mean to completely overlook or discredit or completely dismiss something, but it does happen because I have so much hands-on time with so many different pieces of gear that sometimes when something doesn't move the needle immediately, toss it aside, don't ever think about it again. Because by the time that thing hits the bottom of the drawer, something else has dropped and I've got to look at it. And it's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate. None of this is me complaining, it's just, this is the state of affairs for EDC gear. There is so much new stuff and so much noise, it's really hard to cut through. So I say, moving forward, we try to do this together. If I've been wrong, tell me. If I've missed something, tell me. If I've overlooked something or had a wrong opinion about something, I want you guys to tell me in the comments. I'm very open to hearing about it. I'd love to have the discussion. Let me know in the comments if it's ever happened to you, that you've completely overlooked something because of a review and later came across that thing and you're like, wow, this thing's actually great and that guy's an idiot. Or if I'm the one that did it to you, I'd love to hear it. All right, moving on. We have come to the part of the show where I want to show you some cool stuff that's come across my desk. What a great segue. Here's one, and this is EDC influencer trope unlocked. I'm going to show you something that you can't buy now. This is a collaboration that happened last week with Axial Knives. We came out with the Shift V3 Best Damn EDC edition there were two versions. I left the other one at home because of course I did. One was a smooth side. This one is milled. It is a acid washed Magna Cut Wharncliffe blade with bronze accents like the button and the clip. Super sick. They did sell out at Blade Show and on their website. I wanted to get this in a deep cuts. We just did not make the deep cuts in time, so I'm sorry. However, there may be more. So if that's the case, then you didn't totally miss the boat. I really like this a lot. It's been the one in my pocket ever since they showed up. Like I told you in the Axial video I did, or the OTF video I did, that I've been carrying OTFs more, and it's mainly because of the Shift V3. So I'm glad that we could collab on that. I'm sorry we sold out, but not totally sorry. It's always a weird position to be in, isn't it? So next up we have something brand new from Worksharp. These drop on Monday at 10 a.m. PST. This is the Blackout RMX, or RMX Blackout. This is part of the Reserve series, so I'm guessing they're doing special runs in different colors. This thing is totally blacked out except for the Worksharp logos and the writing on the blade. So very sick. I actually really like the two-tone because the blade and the handles match, and then you've got like shiny bits with the button, the pivot, and the spacer, well, the clip, but also the little triangle. I don't know what we're gonna call that. I don't know what they call it. These are still M390 blade for the drop point. I don't know if they'll have these in reverse Tonto. I think it's just this config right here, and it's nice. I really like the way that looks a lot. All right, one final thing for show and tell. This was my one and only pickup from Blade Show West. No, I didn't go. Yes, I had Ricky proxy this for me because I saw these before the show and I said, oh baby, I need that in my life. Although the last thing I need is another knife in my life, but here we go. So this is the Chavez ProTech collaboration, the Redencion. But as you can see here, custom 005. This is two-tone blast tumbled with satin flats, 714 steel, tread handles, Mike Erie, compound grind drop point blade, pearl button, steel milled skull clip. So all the Chavez love that you normally see, but in a steel handle. It's heavy like a freaking tank, and it's got that custom ground blade. What a freaking beauty. Mirror bevels, satin flats or brush flats. What a beaut. Here's the thing. I didn't want the Mike Irie one because I wanted it to be a user. I thought this thing looked sick. I wanted just a stone-washed blade, but this was the only one available when I finally told Ricky, yeah, go ahead and do it. So this is the one we got. It is a beauty. It's a real beaut. And I don't know if I'm ever gonna carry it. Maybe I should just say screw it and carry it. Dang, it fires like a, dude, it's sick. All right, anyway, moving on. I just want to say there's a lot of new subscribers here, so welcome. Thank you for watching my Leatherman Wave video. But also, if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, you should do that because I haven't said that in a very long time. And it's like 70-some% of you guys who watch are not subscribed. That's crazy. What are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, helps us algorithmically. Just subscribe. Thanks. Carry of the week. This one comes from Unbound Carry on YouTube and Instagram. I picked it most likely because it's a really cool photo, to be honest. I don't know why else I would pick it. It's just really cool. Good gear, obviously, but just a really sick photo. So first up, we have in the center a Vosteed Psyop. That is their big top button liner lock actuated. Who knows what, we don't have a consensus on what this is anymore. Anyway, next to that is the pen. That is a Big Idea Design TI Arto. The flashlight is a Rovivon Aurora A4 Pro in titanium. We have a Popov Leather 5-card wallet, Apple Watch Ultra 2, the James brand Melville, which is the carabiner on the keys there, as well as a leather Orbit key organizer. Then he has an iPhone 15 Pro Max in a Nomad leather case and a handkerchief found on Etsy. Honestly, genuinely, this looks like what my carry was like a few years ago. The Nomad leather case, that phone, and Apple Watch Ultra, even Popov leather. When I started this channel, my wallet was a Popov leather wallet. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. He also said, as you can probably tell, I love titanium. Other than my phone, the knife definitely gets the most use. My job is mainly a desk job, but with property management duties, I also order all the supplies for our office, so I'm always opening and breaking down boxes. I also love adding leather wherever possible. It adds a touch of class and is a pleasure to hold and watch patina. I love the channel and have been watching for years. You're the main person who got me into EDC, and for that, I'm grateful. Well, thank you very much. And when asked if we could help him find anything, he says, I'm currently looking to add a watch to my collection. I have a Seiko 5 Sport, Orient Bambino, and a Vare S5 Tradition. I'm trying to diversify my collection. Specifically, I'm looking at the Citizen Suyosa and the Laurier Neptune, but I'm open to suggestions. Laurier Neptune is a classic. It's really a beautiful watch. I had one. Kind of regret selling it because I had one of the early ones with the acrylic crystal, and it was really super domed. They toned down the doming of the crystal after a few versions. I missed that one. I shouldn't have sold it. I sold it because I got the that one-of-one Oris that I have. Other than the Seiko 5, you don't have any like real tool watches, so you could go tooly if you wanted. There's no G-Shocks in here. Personally, what I think you should look at, because it's what I've been wearing a lot lately, and not since I got this, the RZE UTD 8000. It's really cool. I don't know if you're into digital watches at all. I personally wasn't like super excited about that UTD until I got my hands on it, and I was like, oh, this thing's actually kind of sick. Imagine a G-Shock in titanium and just really high quality, like super, super sick. The only other thing I see that is not here, and maybe you're not into them, is chronographs. I would say maybe look at a chronograph or a GMT. The GMT from Vare is very nice. The only problem with GMTs is they can get a little bit spendy. Big Eye has a GMT, which is very, very nice too. I've worn that one quite a bit. Yeah, those are the things that I don't see in here. So I would recommend either the Vare GMT or the Big Idea Design one. And for a chronograph, man, I am so far removed from watches. I've not been in watches for so long. Really, really awesome, very unique watch. It is like $1,400, so it's not for everybody, but young hands, They've got some cheaper like quartz watches, but Young Hens makes some amazing Bauhaus design watches. They're amazing. I had a Young Hens chronograph, and it's a long story. I don't have it anymore, and I'm very upset about it still. And if you are watching and you want to submit and maybe get your picture in the show, go to edcw.co and submit right there. There's also a link down in the description. Of course, we've come to the part where I'm going to show you what's in my pockets, because you guys always ask if I don't do it. And first up, we obviously have that axial collaboration, the Shift V3. I have switched from the Wave Alpha and the Arc to the Surge, which is a choice. That thing is a tank. I have the Gaslight Industries lighter. No, I don't have an update. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't have an update on the lighters, but that's Gaslight Industries. I want to say we're going to launch them before Christmas, but I'm not making any promises. Same wallet as always, Hitchhiker, Carry Commission collaboration, and the pin. Same one that I've been carrying for months now. This is the Pocket Pro from Big Idea Design in bronze, made in USA. Oh, I got a new phone. I did upgrade my phone to the iPhone 17 Pro Max because of the front camera and video capabilities of this thing. I'm gonna be a little more run and gun, a little less polished. We're gonna try to make more videos and just get in front of the camera a little bit more. So there's that. And then of course, the watch is the Garmin Fenix 8 Pro in the 47mm version. So that has been a constant on my wrist, and that is everything. Finally, it's time to talk about the giveaway. I said that we would be doing the giveaway a little bit differently. We're doing one a month instead of every single week because it just got too much. So we're doing a lot more per giveaway, but one giveaway per month. So first up, we have the Big Idea Design Everyday Notebook. We're gonna give away one set of these, as well as the Pocket Pro pen in bronze. This is mine, but these are gonna be, you'll get a brand new one. I promise you're not getting my sweaty patina Pocket Pro. Also, a Wilder Goods Co. Carry Commission Hitchhiker wallet in Onyx, which is the newer one with the ass logo instead of the man with the bindle. And I am cutting this open. Sorry, I don't know where the other one is right now. But a new in-box, now opened, but brand new in-box Wave Alpha. So you get a brand new orange or Canyonland Wave Alpha. And finally, I don't have it here, but it is on its way here. We have the Tri-Stash in Ultim from Blade Binge. They're throwing that in as well. So this is a fairly large giveaway. So thank you to all the people who have donated this stuff for the giveaway for you guys. If you want to know how to enter, you should be signed up for my email list. So what this new way of doing the giveaway means, we're going to give this away at the end of the month. You have time to get in on how to enter that giveaway. So it's not just one time, one and done. You miss it, we're going to have 1 month for you guys to be able to enter. Now it's not quite a whole month, but you got a couple weeks, you got time. All you need to do is be subscribed to the email list, and when that email comes out, it will have instructions on how to enter this giveaway. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for everything. Sorry we didn't do deep cuts for the last 2 weeks. We were moving around. I was traveling and all over the place, had a lot of stuff to get done. We got it done. We're here, we're back. We're gonna be weekly again. I promise. This is not me falling off. I promise. I promised you guys we were gonna do this weekly. I needed a minute. We're back. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Everything we talked about, all the information you need is linked down below. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, carry on.